sleeves rolled up, ready to work. Okay. We're making cinnamon rolls. Ta-da! Can you see that? Here's a present for you. Hello everybody and welcome to Sweet Tooth, the baking series where you learn how to become a rival for Cinnabon. Because my friends, today we are making the most glorious homemade cinnamon rolls. Now, homemade cinnamon rolls feel like they're a lot of work, at least to me. When I first started baking, I was like, I could never make a homemade cinnamon roll. I literally don't get how they do it. I actually knew an older man, he was my grandfather's friend, and he made the most insane homemade cinnamon rolls. And I thought that he was a wizard. Like, I couldn't figure out how to make bread that was pillowy soft, that just like melted in your mouth. But then I did figure it out. And I realized it's not that hard. You just have to have a little bit of patience, and you don't have to be a wizard. You just have to be a person with just a few ingredients. We have all-purpose flour. Then we have some granulated sugar, we have some milk, a little bit of salt, some butter, an egg, and some instant yeast. So here I'm using Fleischmann's yeast. This is my preferred yeast, and I really like this one. It's the fast-acting yeast. One thing I will say about yeast, I would highly recommend that you keep your yeast in the fridge. This is going to keep your yeast babies much more active and last for a longer amount of time. So keep that yeast in the fridge. When you're ready, take it out of the fridge and use it. Okay, let's make a dough. We are going to take our milk and our butter. I'm gonna take our butter and just kind of make it into cubes. And then I'm going to put this in the microwave just until it's warm. So the big trick here is we don't want our milk and butter to be hot because hot liquid can kill your yeast. When you touch it, it should be like the temperature of a cold hot tub. That's sort of like the temperature you're looking for. I guess I could say bath and that would be a little bit less gross. But anyways, I'm gonna run off camera, microwave this until it's warm but not hot. See you in a second. All right, so we got our warm milk and butter, delicious. This is going to go into a stand mixer. If you do not have a stand mixer, you can do this by hand. So to that, we are going to add some granulated sugar, and then I am going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour. By adding half of the flour, what we're doing is we're gonna start to form a really beautiful sticky dough. Flour has what's called glutens in it. I mean, I feel like everybody knows about glutens nowadays because so many people are averse to them. But glutens are basically these proteins in flour that as they work together, they can get tougher and form really like thick and beautiful and stretchy structures. That structure is what's gonna give your dough rise and just a really beautiful like pull. What we're doing at this stage is we are going to mix things together so that they form this really sticky dough. And then once we get this really nice stickiness, we're gonna add the remainder of our flour and continue that gluten development. So I just added a little bit of salt. I'm also gonna add 1 egg, and then we are going to add a packet of yeast. 1 packet of yeast is 2 1/4 teaspoons. A lot of yeasted recipes will tell you just put the yeast in with your warm milk, or if it's using water, warm water, it's fine. You can put this all together, it's gonna be great. Okay, we're gonna put this on low speed and then we're gonna gradually increase it to medium. So this is just gonna go for 1 to 2 minutes. I'm gonna scrape down the sides of the bowl 1 or 2 times over those 2 minutes just to make sure everything is nice and incorporated and together. Okay, so it's been 2 minutes and we basically just have this gloopy, sticky dough. Bread flour, cake flour, all-purpose flour. They're all different types of flours, and the biggest difference between all these types of flours is that they have different amounts of protein in the dough. So cake flour has the least amount of protein. I think it's like 8%, don't quote me on that. All-purpose flour has between 9 and 10, and then bread flour has the most amount of protein. But we're using all-purpose flour. It totally works, and it still creates a really, really beautiful dough. So an additional 2 cups is gonna go in here. So now this is going to all be mixed together. At this stage, I'm going to take out our paddle attachment and I'm going to change this over to a dough hook attachment. Before I put that dough hook on, I just give it a little manual stir just to help things come together, so when I turn on my stand mixer, that dough doesn't like fluff all over me. And now, let's mix this. If you are using a stand mixer, you are going to mix this for like 5 to 8 minutes. I'm gonna show you how to tell when your dough is ready. I wanna show you guys what this looks like after just 1 minute of mixing. So you can see, this is a very wet dough. So if you are doing this by hand, I just want you to know it's gonna be wet in this first part. As those glutens start to develop, this is gonna get thicker and thicker. If for any reason your dough looks even more wet than this, I would add in like a tablespoon or 2 more of flour. Last thing I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna take a minute to just move my dough a little bit. Ugh. We have gotten this to a great place. As you can see, it's gotten a little bit tougher as things have gone on. What I would do is mix in a bowl until it comes enough together, and then you can take that baby and plop it on your well-floured surface and just sort of like roll it around in that flour. Let me get my sleeves rolled up, ready to work. Okay. Here we go. Rolling, you basically want to use both hands. One of your hands, you are going to push the dough out, and the other one you'll hold the back, and then you're gonna fold in and turn it a quarter turn. So push that dough out, fold, turn. Push, fold, turn. Push, fold, turn. And this is how you knead your dough by hand. When you take a little piece of dough, you want to be able to stretch it out and then hold it towards the light. And what you want to be able to see is some light coming through that dough without it breaking. Now we are going to take this dough and I'm just sort of gonna like cup it all together. So this will become the bottom and we create sort of this nice, really soft center ball of dough. And this is going to go into a well-oiled bowl, and then we're going to let this baby rise until it doubles in size. All right, it's been an hour. This is ready. Okay, here's how you can tell it's ready. That baby's puffed up. See, she's puffy. We are gonna roll out our cinnamon rolls. Once again, we're going to put flour all over well to make it well floured. Again, about double in size is what you're looking for this. And then we're gonna put a little more flour on top, pat that baby in. So what we're looking to do is create a big rectangle with this. First, I'm just gonna sort of pat this out into a rough rectangle shape. Let's see, I can probably flip this a little bit. We got a little bit dry on the bottom here. Don't worry about that too much. It's gonna be totally fine. But we should probably use this as the inside of our loaf because we can spread some butter on it and get it wet again. So let's roll this baby out. What I like to do is between a few rolls, I do like to just pick it up and make sure that it's floured enough under it because we don't want things to get too sticky on the bottom. Okay, we're just gonna roll a little bit more. The size of your rectangle, it's totally to your preference. It really doesn't matter how wide. Just understand that the wider you roll your rectangle, the more spiral you're gonna have. All right. I'm just gonna bring out a kitchen measuring tape. Okay, so we got 23, that might be too big. And 15, that feels pretty right. I'm just gonna like kind of shake it a little bit and make it a little less long. This should be about right. Excellent, just a little over 20. And 15 and a half, that feels great. See, it really doesn't matter. It can be whatever you want it to be. I am going to take my handy dandy parchment paper sheet and I'm just gonna line this on my pan so that as they cook, they don't end up sticking to the sides of the pan. All right, so this is good to go. I have 4 tablespoons of butter here. This is very room temperature butter. This is where things are gonna get messy. I'm literally just gonna start sort of dragging this along, and I'm just gonna work this in. Smooth it around. Make sure you go all the way to the edges of the dough. Once you feel like your finger painting inner child is happy, then we will move on to the next part. We have 2/3 a cup of light brown sugar. And then on top of that, I'm going to add some cinnamon. I'm just gonna eyeball it. And then you're just gonna take those fingers, paint everything into the dough. So you really just wanna like sort of smush this into the dough. I wanna just leave a tiny bit of an edge on one of the long sides of my dough. Beautiful. Now it's time to roll. So what we're gonna do is we're just going to start on one of the long sides, just fold this over. And then from there, just keep going, just like that. And you don't wanna push the roll too hard because you really wanna make sure that that sugar stays attached to the dough. So you can even just lift up a little bit as it gets a little bit bigger. So almost like up and over a little bit. All right. And then we just seal that last edge in, and now we have this very beautiful long dough. Looks great to me. So the traditional way of cutting cinnamon rolls, and I will show you just so you can see, is using a sharp knife. I really like just coming in and cutting off the sides. When I cut, we have a pretty good cut, but do you see how we kind of ended up smushing that down a little bit? Not ideal. So instead, I use this really fun trick. Take dental floss, slide it under halfway through your rolls, and then just cross over those two pieces, and then just pull it tight. As you can see, it creates this absolutely gorgeous spiral. We're just gonna cut those halves in half, and I make cinnamon rolls a lot, so I'm just gonna eyeball it, but you can measure out half and half if you feel more comfortable. And we're just gonna do that again. And then once you create those halves, you are gonna cut those halves into thirds, creating 12 cinnamon rolls. Now we are gonna put these beautiful babies into our pan. We're gonna go 3 by 4. And then they are gonna do one more rise, about an hour until they are doubled in size. So they should swell up in their lovely little rolly shape, and then we'll be ready to frost them. Okay, it's been an hour. Our cinnamon rolls have perfectly puffed up. Okay, into the oven. Our cinnamon rolls are about ready to come out of the oven, and off camera, I made this luxurious cream cheese frosting. Recipe for this baby is included inside the show notes below. I wish you guys could smell it in here right now. It smells like Christmas morning. Look at her! Wow. Oh my gosh, she is so beautiful. Those spirals are just the perfect little size. We have a really nice golden brown going on. I am so stoked about these. So we are going to take our cream cheese frosting and we're just gonna dollop these over the top. I usually will let my cinnamon rolls sit for about 5 minutes and then I'll top them. So that way they're not so hot that the frosting completely melts. I like doing these all at the same time and just kind of like creating a cute little swirly pattern. I mean, really there's no right way to do it. It's gonna be a little bit messy looking, but also super, super cute. Now we're just gonna take the back of a spoon and kind of just go to town. It's gonna be messy, but it's gonna be perfect however you do it. And if you find that you have a little bit too much in one area, you can just move them around, but that's it. Moment of truth, here we go. Cheers. Can you see that? It's messy, but oh my, okay, that looks great. It doesn't get any better than this. This just brings me back. That cream cheese frosting adds such a nice tang, and it's a really nice, just like slight acidity to the warmth of the cinnamon. You're perfect, you're everything. I'm so proud of you and everything you've accomplished, and now I would like to eat you. I'm telling you guys, I can't even talk because I took a really big bite. And now I have stuff all over my face, but it's worth it. Now that my fingers are sufficiently totally messy, I'm gonna finish this baby up, go clean everything up. But as always, if you wanna find the full recipe for these absolutely incredible cinnamon rolls, you can do so in the description of this video. And if you like this video and want to see more of them, then like, comment, or subscribe. I hate that. This is my least favorite. I don't want to force you to like, comment, and subscribe, but if you want to do it, it would help me out. I'm gonna stop now. Thank you guys so much for being here and for learning how to make cinnamon rolls with me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and happy cinnamon rolling. We are making a classic bakery style blueberry muffins. So satisfying. Ooh, vanilla. My vanilla is always escaping me. Mix this, and then we literally just fold it together.